Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jyotsna, pursuing my BE Computer Science from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today's topic is types of loops in C. Topics to be covered are use of loop control statements in C, types of loops in C, types of loop control statements in C. Use of loop control statements in C. Consider the expression that says, if a thing is worth doing, then it is worth doing multiple times. There are various real-time examples of this statement, like riding a horse, watching a movie, eating your favorite meal, wearing the same clothes, etc. Similarly, in programming, we sometimes have to perform the very same action or program over and over again. This need is met by a mechanism known as the loop. Sometimes users would want to break out of any given loop. It is known as loop control. The loop control statements help in changing the execution of a loop from its original sequence. Whenever the execution of the control statement takes place in a loop, the loop leaves the scope. Thus, in this case, all the objects created automatically in the scope will get ultimately destroyed in no time. Types of loops in C. We can handle various looping requirements in the C programming language with the use of the following types of loops: while loop, nested loop, for loop, do while loop. For loop. This kind of loop performs the execution of the sequence of various statements various times. It then abbreviates the available code that manages the variables of the loop. While loop. This type of loop is used for repeating any given statement or a group of various statements whenever the condition we have is true. Thus, it will perform the testing of the condition before the execution of the body of the loop. Do while loop. This loop is just like the while loop statement. The only exception is that the do while statement performs the testing of the condition that is present at the very end of a loop body. Nested loops. We can make use of a single loop or multiple loops inside any other loop, such as for, while, or even the do while loop. Types of loop control statements in C. The C programming language provides support for various control statements. These are go to statement, continue statement, break statement. Go to statement. This type of statement transfers the control of any labeled statement. This type of statement will provide a user with an unconditional jump in the C programming language to a labeled statement from the goto in the very same function. Note: the usage of the goto statement is not very much advisable in any programming language. It is generally discouraged because this type of statement makes it very difficult for any user to trace the overall flow of any program. Thus, the program becomes very hard to understand in this case and eventually becomes very difficult to modify as well. But we must remember that we can rewrite a program at any time if it has utilized the goto statement. Continue statement. This type of statement will cause a loop to skip the remainder present in its body and then retest its actual condition immediately before reiterating it. This type of statement works very similarly to that of the break statement in the C programming language. But here, instead of forcing the termination of the loop, it will rather force the next iteration of the available loop. Thus, it will ultimately skip the code present in between. The continuous statement in the case of for loop will cause the execution of the conditional test as well as the increment portions present in a loop. On the other hand, the continuous statement will ultimately cause the program control to pass on to the conditional test in the case of the do-while loop and the while loop. Break statement. This type of statement ultimately terminates the switch statement and the loop statement. It then transfers the statement execution after following the switch or loop immediately. There are the following two uses of the break statement in C programming language. Whenever a program encounters a break statement inside any given loop, there occurs an immediate termination of that loop. After this, the program control ultimately resumes in the very next statement that follows the given loop. We can use it for terminating a case used in the switch statement. Also, when we are making use of the nested loops, the break statement comes in handy. It terminates the execution of the loop that is innermost and then it starts the execution of the line of code that is after or next to the block. Finally, thank you for watching this video. Please do like it and share it with your friends and family.